Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where a number of you have recommended we take a look at what I think is an extremely kind and generous-hearted puzzle. It's called 600,000 and it's by Dorlier, who is of course the maths professor that we've come to know and love in the Sudoku world, and a creator of extraordinary puzzles. And Dorlier has made this puzzle to sort of celebrate Cracking the Cryptic reaching 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, which we managed to do a few weeks ago. So this is incredibly kind, and it's a 2-star rated puzzle, but lots of you have said that this is really a very special one. So thank you very much to Dorlier for creating this, and I hope I will do it justice. I've read the rules before I turned on the webcam, and I think this... well, at least some of the ideas behind this puzzle I've seen before, but we shall see. Anyway, this is what we're going to be attempting, and I don't have much news for you today. Let me just think. Over on Patreon, we've got Paws Sudoku Hunt, which is actually it's full of puzzles about this size. There is one puzzle I think smaller than this, but all the rest are 6x6s, and the idea is it's quite an approachable Sudoku hunt. So literally thousands of you have been having a go at it and enjoying it. So if you haven't had a go yet, do have a go. You've still got plenty of time left to get your solutions over to us and be in with a chance of winning the competition. And huge thanks to Paws for what is being a very appreciated Sudoku hunt this month. Other than that, no birthdays to do today, so in fact, why don't we just kick straight into it? Let's have a look at what Dorlier has constructed. These are the rules of the puzzle. Normal 6x6 Sudoku rules apply, so that means we've got to put the digits 1 to 6 once each in every row, every column, and every rectangle. Digits separated by a white dot are consecutive, so those are consecutive, so that means if this is a 1, that's definitely a 2. If that's a 2, this is either a 1 or a 3 in order to be consecutive with 2. Then we have to draw a snake in the grid, which must start and end at the grey cells. The snake is a 1-cell wide path of orthogonally connected cells which may touch itself diagonally but not orthogonally. So what does that mean? It's 1 cell wide. So how am I going to construct a snake that... well, I'll do it like that, actually. Or like that. Okay, so that would be a possible path for this snake. And the reason this works is if we look at it, every cell, or the snake moves orthogonally from cell to cell, which means it moves to a cell that shares an edge with its current cell at all times. So what wouldn't work would be if we delete that square. So you can't claim the snake's gone from this square directly to this square, because that would be a diagonal movement. Although these squares touch, they only touch at a point, and that is not an orthogonal connection. So this is probably valid. These two squares touch one another diagonally, but the rules say that's possible. What we couldn't do is sort of run the snake down to this square, because if we do that, these two squares would touch orthogonally, and that is against the rules of the puzzle. Now, if the snake passes through box N, then digit N must be part of the snake in that box. Now, it doesn't say this, and in fact, probably what I'll do, assuming this becomes a video, is I might tweak the rules to this one, just to say that I presume boxes are numbered in normal reading order. That's the convention we tend to employ in Sudoku. So this is box 1, this is box 2, this is box 3, this is box 4, this is box 5, and this is box 6. And the rules are saying if the snake passes through box N, so let's say it goes through that box, that's box 3, and then the 3 in this box would have to be on the snake path, is how I read the rules. The snake can't pass through the cells. The snake can't pass through the cells that are separated by a white dot. What does that? The snake can't pass through the cells. You see, again, I'm not sure. I'm not actually certain I understand what that means. Does that mean I think the way I read that... Well, I could read it two ways, actually. I'm not sure. I could read that as saying that the snake can't go through any of those squares because they are because they are cells that are separated by a white dot. So literally that seems to be true. But what I wonder whether it means is that the snake, let me just go to a snake drawing, the snake can't go like that, for example. So it can't go through the white dot. I don't know. I think I'll try and solve it with the sort of as if it can't go through there, because that's a tighter constraint, isn't it, than saying it just simply cannot go in either of those squares or either of these squares at all. That's a big restriction, and it might mean that. If it does mean that, I shall tweak with the wording. And finally, right, but here's the big rule. Finally, the product of the digits along the snake is equal to 600,000. So this reminds me of the Glum Hippo puzzle that we did when we reached 600,000 subscribers. And in that puzzle, there was a bow tie in the grid that had to contain digits that multiplied to 600,000. Here, there is a snake in the grid that contains digits that multiply to 600,000. So it's a brilliant idea. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. It's always a bit discombobulating when I'm not quite sure what the rules are. But let's think about this. So I am going to say, at least initially until I get stuck, that these cells, that the snake doesn't pass through the white dots in effect. And I think what we're probably going to have to do is to factorize 600,000, which I nearly remember how to do. In fact, I came in for a bit of stick last time for the way I factorized 600,000, because the way I did it last time was I continually divided 600,000 by 5. And I think I managed to do that 5 times, if I remember. And then I have the number 192 in my brain as that being some sort of remnant. I could do it this way again, couldn't I? But no, I should know. What I should do is to say what I should have done. What people said I should have done is to do it far more straightforwardly and just note that that 600,000 is 6 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And then if you find the prime factors of those 10s, obviously they are 2 and 5 each time. So in fact, the prime factors of 600,000, we can immediately... this is very useful, actually. This is very useful. The prime factors of 600,000, and I like to think of prime factors as being the sort of atoms that make up the molecule. So the molecule is 600,000, and the atoms that make up that molecule are its prime factors. And they are going to be 2 times 3, because that equals 6, and then 2 times 5 for each of the 5 times 10s that we put in that equation. So overall, 600,000 is 2 to the 6, 2 to the power 6, times 3, times 5 to the power 5. And that means 192 was correct, because if I multiply 2 to the power 6, which is 64, by 3, I do get 192. So my memory is not deceiving me there. So, now what does this mean? Well, that means that however we get the snake from here to here, we must pick up 5 5s on our journey. Exactly 5 5s. Otherwise it's impossible to make the snake work. That's one thing it means. How on earth... that's really weird. Oh, okay, right. Okay, so my first thought then was, but how is that in any way restricting the snake? But there is another restriction I've just realised, which is this funny rule about if the snake passes through a box, it must pick up the number of that box along the snake. Right. So what we should do here is to think about boxes 3 and 6, because it is not actually possible that both of these boxes contain snake digits. And that's because if they did, let's say the snake did go into box 3 and did go into box 6, then the 3 in box 3 would be on the path, and the 6 in box 6 would be on the path. And 6 has a prime factor of 3, and 3 has a prime factor of 3. So there would be 2 3s within the prime factor of the snake. And there can't be, because there's only one 3 in the prime factorization of 600,000. So we actually know, ab initio, before we do anything, that the snake... Right. Oh, this is lovely. So the snake goes... It definitely goes into boxes... It definitely goes into the other boxes. Definitely. Because it must. Because it needs 5 5s on it. And it goes into one of the purple boxes to pick up the 5th 5, and in doing that it will pick up its prime factor of 3, whether it goes into this box or this box. So, but which way does it go? Now also, if it couldn't go, imagine it couldn't go into those squares at all. Let me just think about that. Is that then immediately revealing which way it goes? It looks like, yeah, that's a problem. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So if we read the rules as saying that these 4 cells are not on the snake, then I'm going to claim the snake cannot go into box 6. Because if we're saying that these are off, if we're saying that it visits box 6 but not box 3, then you can see, in order for the snake to traverse box 6, it would have to do this. So it would have to do something like that. But we know the snake needs to get into box 1 somehow, because it needs to pick up a 5 in box 1. And it can't get in and out of box 1 without an orthogonal connection to itself. Right, so that is... that worries me. So, so if... But okay, no, all right. But we're still okay, aren't we? I'm not sure about this actually. I'm just going to let me think about this. So if we say this is off limits, so we just say it never goes into this box, that cannot be true. That just cannot be right. Because now it doesn't matter about the fact that it doesn't matter about how we get through box 6. The point is that the snake goes from box 5 to box 6 to box 4, and then it needs to go into box 1 and it can't do it. So it's mere us. This is good. This is good. So I don't have to worry about the rules, because I can simply state it is not possible for this snake to go into box 6. Because to do so, it could never go into box 1, where it does need to pick up a 5. Right, this is good. So actually, the snake does go in this box, which means I suppose I should make it green. It never goes in this box. And, okay, so we can get rid of that X now. And it's going to pick up 5s in all of these 5 boxes. It's going to pick up a 3 here as its prime. Oh, so okay, let's try and keep track of the digits that have to be on the snake. So in this box, there is definitely a 3 and a 5 on the snake. In this box, because it must visit box 1, it must have a 1 on it on the snake, and it must have the 5 in this box must be on the snake. In this box it's 2 and 5, in this box it's 4 and 5, and in this box it's just 5. So these are the definite digits on the snake according to the rules of the puzzle. But that deals with all our prime factors that are 5s. It deals with our prime factor that's a 3. It doesn't deal entirely, at least, with the prime factors of 2 that we know must be involved. So we know 2 to the power 6 is the digit that's on the snake. Now here we've got 2 to the power 2 in the form of a 4, and we've got 2 to the power of 1 in the form of a 2. So there is a maximum of 2 other 2s or 1 other 4 on the snake. Also, here's another point. There is no 6 on the snake anywhere, because once you never go into this box, but you do pick up a 3 on the box in box 3, if we were to pick up a 6 anywhere, it would be a second prime factor of 3, and that won't work. So every 6 in these boxes is not on the snake. We can put as many 1s as we like on the snake because they don't affect the product. So how do we do this then? How do we work out exactly where the snake goes? Because the fact we haven't used all the prime factors of 2, and the fact that we could use many 1s, it's not like I'm wibbling here, but what I'm saying is it's not like this snake is 9 cells long. This snake could be, I mean, if it had 2 2s on it as well as these 2 digits, and 1, 2, 3, and another 4 1s on it, that's another 6 digits it could have on top of these, so it could be 15, at least 15. At least 15 cells large. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so it's got lots of flexibility. So there's something else I'm not understanding. Let me just check the rules again. Is it something to do with the white dots not having, or so if that cell is on the snake, you can't go to that one, but I'm not sure, sorry. How am I going to do this? This is weird. Is there something obvious going on that I'm just not? I'm not understanding. Okay, maybe we think about the direction the snake starts in. I don't think the snake can go down. This might not be right again, but when I was just playing with that in my brain, I didn't think this would work. Because if it goes down, it has to form a U pentomino, doesn't it? And that's because it must turn, and it can't go back up there, or the snake has touched itself at this junction. So it would have to do that. And then we know from our earlier work that this would have to be a 6. But now, on the snake in box 5, I have a 2 and a 4. Which is now too many powers of 2 on my snake, because I've got a 2 and a 4 here and a 2 and a 4 here. Oh no, hang on, that's okay? Oh, I'm so sorry, I've miscounted it. No, oh well, no, okay, it breaks for a different reason actually. No, but that's interesting. I could have 3 powers. Sorry. So when earlier I said I could have 2 powers of 2, I could have 3 powers of 2, because this 2 to the 2 and 2 to the 1 is 3 powers of 2, but I've got 2 to the 6 to play with. So I can have a 4 and a 2 on the snake. But it still doesn't work down here, because there would be a 3 on the snake. And that would be a second 3 along with the 3 in here. And that would mean I've got too many powers of 3 on the snake. So, okay. So I don't really know if this is worth anything, but the snake doesn't go down. So the snake either goes there or there. If it goes there, this has to be a 5. I feel, is that even true? Actually, that might be true. Can the snake go through there? Oh, actually, well, that is something I'm going to think about. I'm just wondering if I'm saying the snake never goes through. You see, that's very powerful, isn't it? Yeah. I wonder if I'm saying the snake doesn't go through either of these squares, then the snake never goes here, it never goes there, so the snake's going to have to, well, that's also going to put 5s into these squares and 5s into these squares. There's going to be a 5 up there. It's definitely doing things very quickly. I might have to come back to this. I might, because that might be what's intended. I'm unsure. But let me just try. If the snake goes through there, how could that ever be true? Because if the snake goes through there, this square now is off the snake. Because otherwise the snake's touched itself orthogonally. But now I've got to get into box 1 somehow. I can't get into box 1 like this, because then I can't get back to box 5. And I can't get into box 1 like that, because my snake will touch itself again. Naughty snake. So I think that is a legitimate thingy. Right, and that's good. So actually I've done this by sort of going around the houses, but I've now actually proved what I wanted to prove anyway, what one interpretation of the rules might be, because now the snake can't go in here, because this would be a corner of the snake, those would have to be on the snake, the snake can't touch itself, so this would be off the snake, and the snake would form a U pentomino in box 5, which we've proved it can't do. So there we go, that's not on the snake. Now the snake doesn't go to there, or it would touch itself. The snake doesn't go to here, or it would touch itself. Now, there must be a 5 in one of those squares, and there must be both a 3 and a 5 in these squares, because we know 3 and 5 are on the snake in box thingy. Aha! But, oh, this is now doing things, because where is the 5 in column 3 now? Well, it's not in any of those cells, so it's in one of these, which is going to be on the snake in box 1. But where's the 5 in this box? That must be a good question, because if the 5 was down here, again, how could that happen? The only way a snake can get in and out of this box now is going to be like that. Anything else, the snake will touch itself. We can't do things like this or this. The snake's going to touch itself. So that means that the 5 in this box, well, it means lots of things. It means none of these squares are on the snake. It means that the 4 and the 5, therefore, are in these squares. It means there's no 5 here. There's a 5 here, and a 5 here. And there's a 4 in one of those squares. But, okay, yes. Ah, careful, Simon. Ah, I've made a mistake. Ah, okay, I've got to go back. Sorry, I've realised there's a possibility I didn't bottom out. So I think everything was true to here, where I noted that if I made this junction, this would not be snake. That's true. But that's only if I make this junction. So I then went on to prove that this junction was impossible, and that's fine, but I left this x in. Now that's not valid, is it? We can, this cell is off the snake. That is good logic, because to get to that cell I'd have to do this. But this cell might be on the snake. And why does that matter? Well, that's going to affect all of those conclusions I was thinking about how to get into box 4. So I can do this, I can do this. That's all valid. I can do this, I can do this. That is valid. It's true to say there is a 5 in one of those squares. That is valid. I mean, it might be, actually, it might still be true to say that you can't visit any of these 3 squares in box 4, because to do so, obviously, you'd have to make a U-pentomino, and that would mean that 3 and or 6 were on the snake in box 4, which we know is not allowed. So it is still true to say that these are off the snake, which means it is still true to say that 4 and 5 in this box are, which must be on the snake in box 4, are in these squares. It does therefore mean that 4 and 5 are in these squares, and because 5 must be on the snake, 5 is here. So I'm okay. So I'm still some of the conclusions I was able to get, I'm still able to use. But what I don't think I can do is assume there's a U-pentomino going in and out of this box here, whatever that box is called, box 4. Okay. Now, so how do we do this? I have not got a Scooby-Doo. I don't think this is a very easy puzzle. This is 2 stars, is it? Well, I suppose if you were able to assume everything at the beginning, maybe it is 2 stars then. Because then you would know it did this, you'd know it did that. Yeah, it might be 2 stars if you can rule this out and rule this out of the snake immediately. Let me go back to that line in the rules. The snake can't pass through the cells that are separated. Yeah, so if that is the rule, you probably need to phrase that as the snake cannot pass through any of the 4 cells that are separated by a white dot or something, just to make that clear. Right, so how do we do this? The snake... Well, yeah, here is quite a nice point. So how does the snake get out? Now, there's an X-wing of 5s here, both of which are on the snake. So we know this is on the snake. We know for sure that cell is on the snake. If the 5s were in these 2 positions, both of those cells would have to be on the snake, and this would not be a snake end. So that's fine, actually, isn't it? So the 5s must be in those 2 positions, which means these 2 are on the snake, obviously. That's on the snake. We can get rid of the 5s. Now the thing is, this could be on the snake, but only if it's a limited panoply of digits. It would have to be a 1, 2, or a 4 to be on the snake. That's true. But how can this cell not now be on the snake? If that cell's not on the snake would branch. So this cell is also on the snake. And that cell cannot be a 6, but it could absolutely be a 3, or a 1, or a 2, or it can't be a 4. So that square is 1, 2, or 3. This white dot does not have a 5 on it, so it doesn't have a 6 on it. Oh, this is a very clever puzzle, actually. It really is. This is clever. So 6 is in one of these 2 squares. So the odd digit that's on here now is 3 or 1. But if it was 3, it would have to be a 3 there, because we know 3 in box 3 is definitely on the snake. Right. Okay, so maybe I can still get to the same point here. If this was on the snake, I don't think that works. But this is a bit more complicated because we're still left with we can see the snake would definitely be doing this sort of movement. The snake needs to go into box 1. Well, it must do that now, mustn't it? It must. Otherwise it never gets in there. So it has to go up now. It needs 2 cells because we need a 1 and a 5 on the snake. So it would have to do that. It would have to do that. It can't now touch itself, so it has to do this, which means it has to close. But it's never got into box 4. Ah, this is great. So, okay, so maybe we don't need the extra rule. Because now this is off the snake, and I have actually proved that the extra rule applies without needing to use it, if you see what I mean. Which is really cool. No, it is really cool. Don't be unkind to me. So now, well now, how can this be on the snake? Because the snake would have to... Oh no, actually it can be on the snake. That's total nonsense. Although, it's quite unlikely to be on the snake. I think the snake's going to go there and turn right. There, I've said it. If it goes like, it could go like that, maybe. Then this would have to be a 3-6 pair. Yeah, and we know that we can have an extra 2 and an extra 4 on the snake, so I do have to be careful here. Okay, but let's go back to thinking about box 4, where we know 4 and 5 are on the snake. And the only way of getting the snake in and out of box 4 now is a U pentomino like that. And look, that's going to close the snake. The snake can't touch itself. So that's how the snake moves. These squares... Well, what's the other digit? It's not 3 or 6. So 3 and 6 are down here. 6 is now here in box 3 by Sudoku. And the other digit... down here, 1s and 2s, that's what we've got to think about. So if there was a 2 here, there would be a 1 here. This square can't be on the snake. Oh, this is very clever, Dahlia. It's very clever. So the snake now is forced to go through that little passageway, which means it's forced to go down to here. Now that digit... I don't know what this digit is. I think it's got a lot of options. Obviously, it's got the ability to be 1, 2. It can't be 3. It could possibly be 4. Can't be 6. So it's 1, 2, or 4. Now, it's really pretty remarkable that this solves uniquely. These digits, well no, because we don't know whether it goes up here, do we? If it went there, this would be a 3-6 pair, that would be a 3-6 pair, these would be 1, 2 and 4. It's weird because you've got this flexibility around the extra 2 powers. I'm just not quite seeing how to do this. Let me, I can get rid of these circles because I think if we, oh no, I need a circle there still. Make it clear that's on the snake. 4, 5. Okay, so 4 and 5 are here. So this digit is 1, 2 or 3 by Sudoku. And this digit is 1, 2 or 4 by Sudoku. So either this is a 4-3 pair or it has a 2 on it. Oh, but it doesn't have 3 on it, does it? Because 3, yeah, of course. 3 in this box has to be on the snake. So that's not 3. This is 1 or 2. So this is a 1-2 pair and that's a 3. This is sick. This is so clever. Good grief. So that's now a 4, which could be on the snake because we are allowed powers of 4 or powers of 2 that multiply together to give 4. This is a 1-2 pair. So these squares, I better actually put these in. This is 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3. So 6 is making an appearance in one of those squares in this box. And in this box we need the 1 to be on the snake. Now the snake, having done this, can't turn this way because it wouldn't get out. So the 1 can't be over there. This becomes a 1 in the corner. Okay, so one in box 1 is in one of those two positions. So 2 is now in one of these positions. 3 is in one of these positions. This is a 2-3 pair. Wow, okay. And now here's an interesting point. If the snake does go here, we can actually draw the snake in, because it can't touch itself, so it would have to do that. Now that might be possible. I have no idea. I've got no clue. We might run out of factors of 2 if we do that. I'm unsure. Because in box 2, we're going to have 2 and 5 as 2 of the digits. And then we're going to have 1 and 4 as the other 2 digits. So we'll have used up in this box 2 to the 3's worth of the 2 to the 6 that I've got available. In this box we're going to use up at least another 2, with the 4 being on the snake, so that's 2 to the 5 of the 2 to the 6 that we're allowed. So that would mean that this 4 couldn't be on the path, so that it would have to come down here, and this would have to be a 2. But then we've got a problem, because we've run out of factors of 2 to be on the snake, and I still haven't contemplated what I'm putting on the snake in box 1, where I could put 1, I could put 5, but what's the other digit I'd put on? It would have to be a 2 again, and I've run out of 2, so this is not the path. Wow. So the path turns here where it hits itself, and we can't now do a little twist. So that's the path. We've found the path of the snake, and we know that in box 1 it's got to pick up 1 and 5 on the snake. So that's 1, that's 5. These squares are now a 4-6 pair. I'm going to get rid of that. I need to put 5 on the snake in box 2, so that's a 5. One of these is a 2, because it has to be by the rules. That's a 2, no 3 in the corner. That's a 3. Right, so these squares... I still might have a problem here. Because these 2 squares now can't be 3 or 6, can they? So these have to be a 2-4 pair. And that means... yeah, so again, if we count the number of powers of 2 I've got on my snake, I've got 3, because I've got 4 to the 4, which is 2 to the 2, and 2 to the 1 in box 3. I've got a 4. I've got another 2 there in the power, because the 4 is 2 to the 2. So now I've used up, in that U pentomino, I've used up 5 of my 6 powers of 2. Now, that means the snake can't go into that square, because that would be too many 2. So it's going to have to go there, and that's going to have to be a 2. And then, okay, so that works if I put 1 here. So that's going to be the solution. We've stumbled upon how to solve the puzzle, because the only way now to keep the number of 2's down. This is such a ridiculously clever puzzle. How is this 2 stars? It's brilliant. And I don't think it's straightforward. I think a path has to do that. And to keep this down, these have to be from 1, 4, 5. And now these are 2, 3, and 6. So that's fixing that as a 1, that as a 2. These squares here as 1, 3. I'm not even sure this is going to... well, I suppose we get a 2 here because we needed that. Nothing else would work. Oh, maybe... okay, so maybe it's the box I've blocked off that is going to help me. These are 3, 4, and 6. So my snake now should work. I mean, I will check that at the end, but that is how I think we have to think about this. So that's now not a 5. Let's get rid of the corner pencil marks. Right, and this is interesting, isn't it? Let's think about what digits we can now put on this white dot. It can't have 1 on it, because that would require a 2, and it can't have 6 on it, because that would require a 5. So the 1 and the 6 in this row are here and here, there and there, and that's only got the ability to be 6, that's 1, that's 4, that's 2, that's 4, that's 5, that's 1, that's 1, that's 3, that's 2. Wow. Just wow. So this is now a 3-4 pair. We know the order. 3, 4, 3, 6. These are 2, 5, 6. And that's 2, that's 5, that's 6 in the corner. That's 4, that's 3. And we've done it. That's it. We've solved it. Right, let's tidy this up. I'm going to have to think about how we present the rules of this one, because I think I did that logically with quite a strict imposition of the rules. What I did was I assumed that the snake couldn't pass through a white dot. And I think that was very pretty the way that unwound. So I'll have a chat with Mark and see what he thinks. But let's check that the digits on my snake multiply together to give the right number. So I should have 5 5s, and I do. I should have 1 3, and I do. And I should have 2 to the power 6. 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. That's got to be the right answer. That's absolutely splendid. I love that. That is brilliant. What a puzzle from D'Orléans. What a puzzle. That's just brilliant. Full stop, brilliant. Take a bow, D'Orléans, and thank you again for setting such an amazing puzzle to celebrate this little milestone for us. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.